Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Nexus Gaming Series Season 2. I am Bludgeon, coming to you with a game in Division A between the Black Hand on the left side and TMG Red on the right side. A little bit of background on the Nexus Gaming Series and the way this works, in case you're not familiar. This is a guaranteed 2-game series, so this match will consist of 2 games regardless of the results. And the way the scoring works is if your team can win both of those games, you get 3 points. If you take one game and lose one game, you get 1 point. If you lose both games, you get 0 points. And obviously the league standings are determined by the points a team has collected. At the end of the season, the top 8 teams will make it to playoffs. So this is a very crucial time in Season 2, as teams are really trying to make sure they land in the top 8. At the moment, the Black Hand is sitting in 9th place, so they could really use a 2-0 victory here, or at least a 1-1 to get some more points. More realistically, a 2-0 would help them a lot. They're currently sitting on 8 points, 2 match victories, 2 draws, and 3 losses. On the other hand, TMG Red, currently sitting in 6th place, definitely want to maintain their position or even move up. Currently sitting at 4-3-0. So both teams have played 7 matches. TMG Red currently has the better record. 4-2-0 victories, 3 draws, and 0 match losses. So TMG Red has yet to be 2-0'd. Talking to Fire Team earlier, he mentioned that they always win the first game of the match. So if history is anything to go by, we can basically already give this first game over to TMG Red. So, the coin flip determined that the Black Hand would get the first map ban and the first map pick of this match. The Black Hand banned out Tomb of the Spider Queen. TMG Red followed up by banning Sky Temple. And the Black Hand has selected Cursed Hollow for game number 1. Game number 2 will take place on Infernal Shrines. So, now that we're all caught up, we're taking a look at the picks and bans here for Cursed Hollow. Tassadar was the first ban against the Black Hand, who followed up with a ban on Abathur. Tassadar is a hero we've been seeing, it's been seeing a fair amount of action in Division A in terms of the picks and bans. Fairly high priority champion. I've seen a lot of good use of that Tassadar, both as the shielding support, able to really protect a massive damage dealer like Avala, with a shield as well as lifesteal. But the other really significant part of the Tassadar has been the use of the Force Wall heroic ability. Really just wreaking havoc on maps with little corridors, getting people stuck in places they don't want to be. Obviously a huge tool for making a team fight shape out in your favor. But we're not going to see it this game. Abathur also banned out. A nice hero to have on a map like this. Someone who gives a lot of global presence, and someone that we're not going to see in this match. First pick over on the side of TMG Red. We saw ETC picked up. Certainly not a surprise to see a hero picked up or banned that early in the draft. ETC has been consistently a high priority hero in competitive play for a little while now, for reasons that most people are already familiar with, but basically very tanky guy, a lot of CC, a lot of mobility, very nice peel, as well as options, whether to take a really strong team fight talent in that mosh pit or a global mobility talent in stage dive. So nothing too shocking there. Over on the other side, on the Black Hand, we saw Lieutenant Morales and Vala picked up. One strong support, one strong damage dealer. What I noticed mainly here is the sort of color scheme has been selected to match up. We can see that Lieutenant Morales, with that sort of pink theme on the face mask in particular, has been matched up with Vala's hat. So obviously going for a bit of a pink strategy there, and we do see the Lucio pick to match that pinkness over on the side of TMG Red, not to be outdone on the color schemes. But speaking of the heroes, it's Lucio and Sonya. So both teams have picked up a support at this point. We'll see if they go for more. The trend recently really has been double support. That's been very strong and very successful. And the odd time I've seen teams not do it, sometimes it works, but most of the time teams have found success with that double support. So would not be surprised to see more action. And just like that, we see a Brightwing band out. Another support who recently saw some nerfs in the last balance patch. but obviously not enough to deter TMG Red from banning it out. Brightwing, another hero with a lot of global presence. So if we're looking at other global heroes to come out, we still have Dahaka available. We still have Falstad available. Global presence at a premium on larger maps. Obviously, the larger the map, the more space there is to travel, the longer it takes to get from one point to the other. So being able to get from top to bottom instantly is a huge advantage, especially on a map like this where you're going to spend a lot of time contesting objectives. If you're kind of getting in a drawn-out poke war or skirmish over tribute, it's really nice if you can kind of cheat someone out of there, like a Brightwing, and just keep her in a top lane, farming out minions, soaking XP, hopefully making sure that that XP goes in your team's favor while that battle's going on. And at the moment, when you are most needed, you just jump in to join the fight. So we do see the second support picked up for the Black Hand, and that's going to be Rhaegar. Another very popular pick these days. Matches up well with the Morales. Morales is a really nice single target healer. Puts that healing beam on one member and their life bar just goes right back up to full. Extremely annoying if you're the other team. What Morales is not the greatest at, of course, is AoE healing. So that's where Rhaegar comes in. Chain heal, classic AoE heal. Recently changed to be even more AoE focused, as the healing is the same on every bounce for Rhaegar's heal now. It used to be favored a little bit to the initial target. That is no longer the case. So Rhaegar bringing strong AoE healing, as well as very strong burst single target healing, if he does decide to go for the ever popular ancestral healing. Garrosh picked up as well for the Black Hand. Garrosh, someone who has been fairly high priority in a lot of games that I have casted, and for very good reason. I've seen a lot of teams just get wrecked by Garrosh pulling them in, throwing them into his team, and having them just get melted in the middle of all of those red names. So, TMG Red now has gone for... They have two heroes right now that have the option for global mobility, whereas the Black Hand currently has none. Falstad, one of these heroes I was talking about, able to dance around the battlefield and just zoom around from top to bottom, left to right, able to split soak and join his team when the time comes. Also not a bad damage dealer in his own right. Lunara, going to be a large focus of the DPS on TMG Red's side. This is a hero who does really well putting just persistent poke onto the enemy team, as well as having some bursty capabilities with Leaping Strike. Mobile hero, very difficult to pin down, and Lunara is going to be fairly well protected. The ETC Sonya front line, ETC known for being really beefy in the front lines, able to peel for his teammates, and Lucio being able to speed people up. So Lunara already has a fast natural movement speed. Sonya does as well. Falstad, I believe, does also. So a lot of really fast people over on TMG Red. And we saw the last pick, Alarak, coming out for the Black Hand. So it looks like the Black Hand really is going to hope to just, assassinate somebody. Hope they get a nice grab with Garrosh, toss into the enemy team, into an Alarak silence, into a Rhaegar Ghost Wolf lunge, into Valet damage, and perhaps even a Morales grenade to bump them back even further. Alarak, of course, also having the telekinesis. So there's a lot of displacement ability over on the side of the Black Hand. Lieutenant Morales has displacement. Garrosh has displacement. Alarak has displacement. Rhaegar and Vala don't, but Vala obviously has some great CC in the form of Reign of Vengeance. And so, these are the matchups for tonight. Once again, the stakes are starting to get fairly high for these teams. The Black Hand really could use a win here. They could really use a 2-0 victory. If they want to advance in this league, if they want to make it to semifinals, then they're going to have to pick it up. They're just sitting outside that window right now in 9th place, so they definitely can do it. But they're going to have to break TMG Red's first game win streak. This is a team that always tends to win their first game. So the Black Hand is going to have to try to put a stop to that. They're going to have to hold up their Black Hand and perhaps turn it red in the universal symbol for stop. Anyway, here we are in game number 1, Division A, TMG Red versus the Black Hand. Over on the blue side, we have the Black Hand. Genji I playing Alarak. Dawn on Rhaegar. Cupolin playing Lieutenant Morales. So Lucky on Vala, and Paul Charles S on Garrosh. Over on the side of TMG Red, we've got Swanky playing ETC, Time bouncing around on Lunara, Fire Team zooming around on that Lucio, and Azariel playing Falstad. And let's not forget Shade downstairs on Sonya. So the game has begun. We are in Nexus Gaming Series Season 2 on the go. And we see the teams just kind of maneuvering around. As this is a large map, it does tend to take a while before any action happens. Looks like we've got the same kind of split happening on both sides right now. We've got a 3-1-1 situation. Interestingly, both supports have been sent top line on the side of Black Hand, whereas they've elected to split up a little bit. Sorry, there is only one support on the side of TMG Red. My mistake. And that is Lucio up here on top. So will it be interesting to see how that support imbalance works out in this game. Capolan and Dawn going to be focused on healing up their members, and Fire Team's going to have a lot of work to do on his own. In the mid lane, we've got Paul Charles S facing off against Azariel. That's how I'm going to pronounce it. And in the bottom lane, Genji I versus Shade. I'm going to say Genji I because there's just going to be a bit too much confusion if I say Genji when there is no Genji in the game. And we have a pause. Super Hots in the chat has asked, are you high? Perhaps referring to me, perhaps referring to someone in the game. I'm not too sure. Either way, we're going to leave that up to the mysteries of the universe, because that's just how it's going to go. Not sure what's happening with this pause right now. But while we're here, we'll take a look at the talents. So Lieutenant Morales is going for this grenade talent. Going to be trying to displace the heck out of people. Vala going for Monster Hunter, hungering arrow build rather. Oh, probably I didn't unmute my sound, so that'll be helpful. Game sound now on. Still not sure what is happening with this pause. Hoping to get some answers there sooner rather than later. Continuing on with the talents, Garrosh, unrivaled strengths. Going for extra range on that throw to make it extra deadly when it lands. Lightning for Alarak. Colossal Totem. Increase the range of that Earthbind Totem. Always nice to make that CC even more annoying and even more effective. Okay, looks like we had a disconnect. What? Am I not in the chat for some reason? What's going on? That's not good. Okay, looks like the team cannot see me in the chat for some reason, so they can't see my messages. I'm just going to message somebody on Discord, and we'll get this game back up and running. Apologies for the delay, folks. Okay, we'll be right back while we sort this out. Don't go anywhere. All right, we are back. So the game is back underway here. We did have a player disconnect, but we're back into the action. So far, nothing yet has gone down. It's 0-0 across the board. No kills, no turrets, and fairly even XP all around. So we got the team split up top, mid, and bottom. Most action in the top lane, but still not really a whole lot of action. As Time and Fire Team going up against Capolan and So Lucky. DPS and support on both sides. Rhaegar taking that opportunity to grab that vision, make sure that stays for himself. We'll see if he goes down to get that mercenary camp. Looks like he will, in fact, do that. Rhaegar, a pretty good hero at soloing mercenaries. Sonya also doing the same thing on the other side, so balanced mercenary captures for now. Paul Charles S. I wonder if that stands for senior. We'll never know. Time almost going down in that top lane. Luckily, the mana well is still available. Taking a nice drinky drink there. And, going to be healed up. Fire team, though, on Lucio, going to take some time to heal Time back up. Whereas So Lucky just is getting filled full of health from Capolan there. Fairly slow game so far. We haven't seen any nice team fights, no Garrosh pulls, no assassinations, but with the tribute spawning in 5 seconds, things are about to change. Shade and Azariel now waiting here. Swanky chasing Dawn down. Dawn fairly out of position, gets power slid onto by Swanky, and that is first blood. Count on a tribute to bring the action and to bring denoise and to bring defunk. So it's a 5 versus 2 down here. Swanky gets thrown over the enemy lines into the base. That's a fantastic throw by Garrosh. Oh, that just feels so good. Anytime you can throw an enemy into your own fort and just watch as they helplessly await their deaths is a great moment, and it's a great feeling. So well done by Sir Charles. I'm going to call him Sir Charles sometimes. Anyway, the tribute did go over to TMG Red. So even though Paul Charles S. got that really sweet Garrosh throw, in the end, the objective did go over to TMG Red. So it's 1 kill to 1 kill, level 6 to level 6. Still no structures down. At least not too many, actually. There is a turret down here, so there's probably another turret down on the other side somewhere. This one getting very low now. Up here is Ariel in Time, trying to put some attention up here and try to protect it as long as they can as the ammo starts to slowly regenerate on that turret. ETC facing off against Alarak down in this bottom lane. So the teams have kind of gone back to their default fairly low action divisions across the map. Shade taking this time to grab that Bruiser camp, which is a nice timing considering the tribute is spawning just next door. So over on TMG Red's side of the map, we'll see if that helps them grab a second tribute in a row. Fire team already starting that channel, but gets zapped off it fairly quickly. 5 members here from the Black Hand. 4 members currently here from TMG Red. Azariel deciding to just kind of split soak at the moment. So it looks like they're going for the long game. They're just going to poke. Well, That said, it's a big team fight. So Azariel coming back up into the action. Capolan getting really messed up on the Lieutenant Morales, and she goes down. Team fight continues. Blackhand kind of surrounded right now by TMG Red. Azariel going in against So Lucky, who's taking the focus of a lot of the members on TMG Red. Time getting a lot of damage down. Now chasing after Dawn, who looks like is actually going to make it out of there. And that is tribute number 2 going over for TMG Red. XP still fairly even at this point. Looks like TMG Red is slightly ahead in the race to level 10, but not vastly so. ETC going for a loudspeakers build, increasing face melt, range, and knockback. So if you're going to be melting faces, you might as well melt as many of them as you can. And really, I would think the further distance you can get, the safer you're going to be. So that's going to be bouncing some people around fairly nicely. And we got the Echo Pedal doing some AoE damage every time ETC uses an ability. Power Slide goes down onto Genji I. Face Melt goes down as well, knocking him back. Shade tries to get some damage in, but it's not enough as Dawn is there to support his teammate, who is really quite close to the safety of his own base anyway. Tribute number 3 now spawning slightly on the side of the Black Hand, but Fire Team is already there, just perfectly timed. And that is Tribute number 3 going no contest over to TMG Red. We have another pause coming out, unfortunately. All right, so perhaps another disconnect or something. There have been some technical difficulties, it looks like, for the Black Hand so far this game. Hoping we can get that back up for you as soon as we can. We'll take this opportunity to look at the level 10 talents selected by TMG Red. So Lucio has gone for the sound barrier, going to be protecting his team rather than going for offense, going for defense. I think that makes a lot of sense, particularly considering that Lucio is the only support on the side of TMG Red. So really, he's going to be trying to fill a lot of shoes there. So that makes perfect sense. It's going to make it a lot harder for Black Hand to get kills in those concentrated team fights. ETC taking the mosh pit. So even though it's a very large map, deciding not to go for the global mobility talent and instead going for the monster team fight ability. Makes a lot of sense. There's going to be a lot of team fights in this game. Fighting over tributes is going to be happening a lot. So extra team fight stuns there. It's an offensive ability. It's a defensive ability. You can kill people. You can protect people. Nice choice. Leaping Strike on Lunara. Again, not too much of a shock. Extra mobility, extra burst. So allows time to get kills as well as get away. Falstad going for Mighty Gust. I can't remember the last time I saw Falstad not choose Mighty Gust in a competitive game. Obviously, really handy for displacement. Knocking people away from your team if things aren't going the right way. Pushing people off of boss capture points, allowing your team to safely capture a boss which has been killed, or sometimes pushing another team off of a point that they had just captured, of a boss they had just killed, allowing your team to steal it. All kinds of crazy ways that ability can be used defensively, offensively, for objectives, for kills, for escapes. Fantastic. And Sonya choosing Wrath of the Berserker. Again, really no surprises for any of these heroics, but the interesting thing about a lot of these heroes is they do have decent choices. Some of them more than others. Wrath of the Berserker, really, I mean, increased damage by 40%. That is a lot of percent. 40 is a lot more than 5, for example. So nice work there by the Sonya. Hopefully we can get this game going again fairly soon. But unfortunately, such is life when we do all these crazy things over the internet. You know, when the internet was first made, I don't think anybody knew that we were going to be playing games on it with, 10 people in a game pressing all kinds of buttons, clicking, 1 million times a second, and throwing fire at each other and knocking each other around. So the fact that this even works at all is really something we should take a moment to appreciate sometimes. Sadly, when it doesn't work, it's a real pain in the neck. So TMG Red, at the moment, currently sitting in the driver's seat. They picked up 3 tributes. The blue team has been cursed. They've got a minute left on that curse. So the momentum at the moment would seem to continue for TMG Red's Game 1 record, but it's far from over at this point. We're only just under 7 minutes into the game. Black Hand still has a lot of time to do something about this. Looks like people are ready to start the game again, and here we go. All right, all heroics currently available for TMG Red. Azariel flies up top to get some damage onto So Lucky. Wow, look at that. So Lucky running away, gets a nice drink from the mana well, and Azariel backs away. A 4-man push in the mid lane. Looks like they're going to try to take this fort down. Level 10 just has been picked up by the Black Hand. So if they want to fight back, they now are much more able to do so. Stim Drone, Rain of Vengeance, Warlord's Challenge, Counter-Strike, and Ancestral Healing picked up for the Black Hand. Swanky gets a nice power slide onto So Lucky, out of position from the rest of the team. Sonya in the middle of the Black Hand, not too scared, willing to just keep on charging forward. It looks like Capolan goes down. That's 2 kills already. Time feeding the poison into Dawn, who goes down next. 3 kills now. Genji I looking to be the 4th, and Paul Charles S, the only survivor of the massacre in the mid lane. TMG Red taking full control here, making a lot of aggressive moves and deciding that they were sick of this slow early game. It's the mid game now. They had their power strike or power spike with the level 10s, with that curse, and they get that mid keep already. So Lucky getting a little bit of annoyance damage onto the back of Shade, who does not seem to care. So this game has suddenly been blown open. Keep already down in the mid lane. Catapult pressure going to be feeding that for the rest of the game. And it looks like TMG Red is now going to pick up their boss, while the Black Hand does the same down bottom. 13 picked up for TMG Red. Talent tier up. 1 keep up. Things are looking good. Now, my question is going to be, what's going to happen when both of these bosses are on the field? Is TMG Red going to push with their boss, or are they going to send someone down to deal with that blue boss in the bottom lane? It looks like at the moment, everyone's just going to push with that boss, and the Black Hand is going to be the one forced to split up and defend, as they have a very vulnerable mid lane here. And I don't think they want to lose another keep. That's a fort down in the top lane. Genji I accompanying his boss down bottom, going to get a fort for his own team. But meanwhile, how far is TMG Red going to push this? They're already at the top gates in front of that keep. Boss still very healthy. Capolan, Dawn, and So Lucky here to try to see what they can do to push this off. Genji I now back with the team. Paul Charles S coming back with his team. Those towers are down. Boss still at over half HP right now. They're going to lose at least the mana well, but it looks like the boss is probably going to be taken down before the keep falls. So we'll see how far TMG Red decides to push this, and it looks like the answer is no further. So they get some decent damage on the keep, but that is a defense from the Black Hand. And actually their boss is, well, just about dead too. So if they're really lucky, it'll get that gate, but it doesn't look like it's even going to do that. Just going to soak up some ammo and at least keep that lane pushed. Tribute now spawning in the bottom lane, and TMG Red is already here. I don't think the Black Hand can really do anything about this. Fire Team, once again, starting that channel as soon as the Tribute spawns, really on top of that. And, you know, that's what happens when you have map control. That mid lane push they got earlier really allowed them total freedom to just grab that Tribute uncontested. Black Hand starting that mercenary camp and deciding to just leave that one giant there with half health, maybe deciding the time is not quite right to activate that mercenary camp. Shade, though, looking to grab that Knights camp, Bruiser camp, whatever you want to call it, over on that side. So that's going to be picked up. Mercenaries now totally picked up on the side of TMG Red, while both still standing for the Black Hand. I'm not totally sure what they're thinking here. It looks like maybe they wanted to wait for the next Tribute to activate, but they're gonna be lucky if they can even get their own mercenaries at all. I think maybe they should have used that time to grab that Bruiser camp while they still could, because it looks like TMG Red is now going to do it. Tribute spawning top right side of the map. That's going to be really hard for the Black Hand to deal with. especially as TMG Red has now hit level 16, maintaining that talent tier advantage over the Black Hand. And that's going to be, once again, yet another tribute picked up for TMG Red. They have yet to lose a tribute in this game so far, picking up every single one. Early on, they were being contested a little bit, but the last few have basically just been free, as the Black Hand has been forced to play a lot of defense. They're going to have to, get some lucky picks or something to come back in this game. TMG Red really has just, once they got a hold of that pressure advantage by getting that really nice mid push after their team fight win, they have kept the pressure up on the Black Hand. Paul Charles throwing Genji I forward, who puts the telekinesis down onto Swanky, but to no avail. That big cow in his nice big speaker space armor just didn't care. Didn't care one bit. All right, here's a tribute spawning. If TMG Red grabs this, then that's going to be another curse. So I think the Black Hand, should want to fight this. They're trying, but they're being zoned out right now by Swanky. Azariel halfway through that channel, almost on the channel, and that is it. Well set up there by TMG Red, blocking out for their teammate, making sure that the Black Hand could not get in there to interrupt that push. A lot of abilities being used now. We saw the Gust. We saw the Mosh Pit get interrupted fairly quickly, but it doesn't matter as two are already dead for the Black Hand. Unstoppable. Well, it's a temporary unstoppable as Alarak goes down. Fire Team, well, that looks like game one going over to TMG Red. Paul Charles S. just sitting in the base, watching it all happen. Nothing much he can do, but at least, at least he's alive for now. So, TMG Red continues their streak of Game 1 victories. Up in this series 1-0 versus the Black Hand. Really well played there by TMG Red. We saw the early game was fairly slow. For quite a long time, it was just kind of even. Both teams splitting across the map in a 3-1-1 configuration, just both stoking, no one getting too aggressive. But once those tributes started coming up, things changed quickly. TMG Red got a really decisive team fight, wiping out of a lot of the Black Hand and getting their mid keep fairly early on. And from that point on, that was pretty much it. Mercenaries picked up, curses picked up, and the Black Hand has fallen in game number 1. We'll be coming back to you with game number 2, which will be on Infernal Shrines. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back after this. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back with more Nexus Gaming Series. Welcome back to the Nexus Gaming Series Season 2. This is Bludgeon bringing you Game 2 of a Division A matchup between the Black Hand on the left and TMG Red on the right. In Game 1, we saw TMG Red continue their streak of Game 1 match victories, currently up 1-0 in this matchup against the Black Hand. These matches are getting, every match is important, but as we get towards the end of Season 2, and teams are starting to settle into their positions in the league, it's getting more and more critical for teams to pick up points and make sure they make the top 8 in order to get to playoffs. Verino in the chat says the Game 2 win for TMG confirms them a playoff spot. So that is fantastic for TMG Red. Obviously a huge morale boost. If that means that they are currently guaranteed to make playoffs, that's going to take a load of pressure off of them for the rest of the season. However, obviously, they're going to want to get as many points as they can, as many wins as they can. TMG Red is, I believe I casted them the first game of this season when they played against, you know what, I forget who they played against. But they're a team whose goal basically this season was just to improve, to figure out their teamwork, to figure out how they work together. This is not a team who's been playing together for a long time. Some of the members perhaps, but the team as a whole is fairly new, basically started up at the start of this season. But they have high goals. They want to, they want to make playoffs. They want to do as good as they can, as well as they can in this series, and they've done well so far. It seems like they are getting better as time goes on. They have yet to be 2-0'd in any match so far, so that's a really nice thing for them. The Black Hand really could use a win here because they're currently sitting in 9th place in the standings, 1 spot short of playoff contentions. Written GM or Written M in the chat, how many make playoffs? The top 8 teams will make the playoffs. For everyone watching, thank you for joining me for this matchup tonight. Thank you for following the channel if you're interested, but just thank you for watching Nexus Gaming Series. It's a pleasure to be here, and hoping you guys are having a good time. So, looking at the map, Infernal Shrines. This map was selected by TMG Red. So they won the game on the map which was selected by the other team. We'll see if they can win the map selected by their team. Of course, if you pick the map, then you don't get first hero pick, and that also affects things as well. So, looks like they banned out the Garrosh against the Black Hand. Interesting choice, as we didn't really see it used to great effect. In Game 1, Black Hand had Garrosh, and, they got some sweet moves. Sir Paul, Charles, whatever his name is, got a really sweet throw, throwing the enemy ETC over the wall into his fort, and we just watched that poor guy get very slowly killed in enemy territory, as he was probably just hoping his power slide cooldown would come back, but it didn't. So maybe that was it. Maybe they just said, you know what, I don't want to get thrown into the enemy base again. However, that left the Tassadar open. That was previously a ban from TMG Red last game, and left open. This game, Black Hand has decided to select it for themselves. Tassadar, an extremely effective character, someone who really messes things up, not only through shielding, but through just putting walls where you're not supposed to have walls. Tassadar also works very well in kind of a double or sometimes even triple support comp. We've seen people pair him up with the likes of Oriel, Uther, beefing up some kind of Greymane or Vala, or maybe Lunara. We'll see. I do expect another support to come out for the Black Hand before all is said and done. So that's another...
Crusade calls.
All right. Johanna being picked up as the tank for the Black Hand. So Infernal Shrines, obviously this is a map where there's going to be a lot of drawn-out kind of skirmishing, as both teams are going to be kind of roaming around in that center area, trying to get damage onto the enemy Immortal while trying to protect their own. This is where a hero like Lunara can be very effective, as that just kind of persistent poke damage, getting poison onto people. You know, you auto-attack someone, and they're poisoned. So it doesn't cost any mana to do that, and that's why over a long extended period of time, Lunara can definitely mess people up. And we saw the Lunara used very effectively by TMG Red in the last game. So perhaps Blackhand deciding they don't want to face it themselves, deciding to pick it up for their team. TMG Red now waiting to decide what their pick's going to be to go with the ETC and Vala. So ETC, a repeat pick, was used quite well in game number 1. And the Vala, which was used by the Black Hand in game number 1. Now, Vala and ETC both, just huge priority picks. So, one team, the other team, not a big shock to see it either way. Stukov being banned out against the Black Hand. So, TMG Red anticipating a second support choice, deciding that Stukov is the one they do not want to be against. Stukov, really nice, persistent, kind of combines a lot of things. Has persistent AoE healing for the team, but is also capable of burst healing. By activating the bio kill switch. Someone who is also very good in area control situations, which is what you're going to run into in Infernal Shrines. Lurking Arm, an extremely annoying ability. A persistent silence and damage zone that he can hold for as long as he wants. Put that on top of your own Immortal, and basically nobody can be attacking it. So, particularly with the recent nerf to Stukov's Spine Launcher level 1 talent, I think that the expanded Lurking Arm talent has been picking up in popularity, but either way, we're not going to see it this game, and we see the return ban for Brightwing. Brightwing has been banned 2 games in a row now, so obviously these teams have not been too put off by the changes that Brightwing saw in the last balance patch, which I believe a lot of people had considered nerfs. Sonya picked up 2 games in a row for TMG Red, so far actually that's 3 champions that they've kept the same from game number 1. ETC, Lucio, and Sonya were all in the hands of TMG Red last game. And hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Black Hand, however, has so far chosen all new champions, so going for the opposite side of that coin, if it is broke, fix it. And it looks like they're going to try. Currently waiting to see what their final 2 picks will be. I imagine we're going to see another support. I could easily see the Rhaegar coming back again. Oriel is available. They don't have a great Oriel target. I suppose you could pick Lunara. Well, they do pick Oriel, and Kael'thas locked in as well. Kael'thas is extremely great on this map. Once again, people clumped up into areas fighting against Immortals. Persistent conflict. Kael'thas, great at zoning, great at AoE, and that's something you want. So they've got a nice setup now for this map, and we're going to wait to see what the final pick is going to be for TMG Red. We'll see if they decide to go for a double support. Last game they didn't. They went just for a Lucio solo support, which is not something I'm really used to seeing, but hey, it worked. Lucio was doing a great job boosting the movement speed of his team, allowing engages and disengages, as well as persistent healing over time. So we'll see if they pull that once again. So far, nothing too different coming out for TMG Red. Only a few seconds left to find out what that last pick will be.
Let's save some lives.
All right, and it's going to be Lieutenant Morales. So they do go for the double support this team, stealing that Morales away from the Black Hand. Well, in the sense that Black Hand used the Morales in Game 1, and now TMG Red is using the Morales for Game 2. So once again, a nice combination of strong single target healing with strong persistent AoE healing from the Lucio. Morales also is a support who does not use mana. She's been, relatively recently changed to use energy, which means over a long period of time, she's going to be able to just keep healing people up without having to return for mana. However, Oriel is the same on the other side. So Oriel is someone who basically generates hope, which allows her to heal as a resource, and the hope is, as we all know, generated from her chosen Halo target dealing damage. So I would expect that that's probably going to go onto Lunara most of the time. I would imagine Tassadar is also probably going to be focusing the shields onto the Lunara for that sort of in and out damage that she's capable of, whereas Kael'thas, of course, going to be hiding and trying to get that poke damage out from the back line. It'll be interesting to see if Genji decides to go for the convection stacking talent. It's always fun, but also quite risky. All right, so game number 2 coming at you. Over on the left, we have the Black Hand. So Lucky playing Lunara. Paul Charles S on Johanna. Capolin playing Oriel, and Dawn on Tassadar. Over on the right side, it's TMG Red looking to get a 2-0 victory if they can here. Shade on Sonya. Time playing Vala. Azariel on Lucio. Fire Team playing Lieutenant Morales. And Soranki on ETC.
1. Let the battle begin.
Let the battle begin indeed. Division A starting to come to a close here for Season 2. These games matter. These points matter. TMG Red apparently already having locked up a playoff spot, but not so for the Black Hand. They really could use a point here. We'll see if they can do it. They've picked a fairly different team composition from the first game. So hopefully they can shake off that fairly convincing victory, which was taken by TMG Red. You see the team splitting up one-on-one top, and a lot of people bottom. Paul Charles getting a nice pull onto those members of TMG Red, but no one gets hurt, really. So we're seeing both supports hanging out with the Vala in this bottom lane. Feels great to be a Vala, able to just walk ahead and fire arrows into people, knowing you've got backup. Paul Charles S in between two members of TMG Red. Azariel firing little sound balls into him. But Paul Charles, pretty tanky on that Johanna. And wow, sorry I missed that. But Shade getting first blood onto Tassadar. Fairly early in this game, that is a kill. Always feels good. Early kills, not the most impactful thing, but every little bit helps. This is going to help get an XP advantage. It's going to get a pressure advantage. So Lucky now coming up to handle that Sonya, but that's leaving ETC alone in the mid lane. Down bottom, Genji has decided to go for Convection. Okay, so we'll see whether he can get that stacked up. If he can, it's going to be a nice damage boost for his team. But he's going to have to be very careful. Look at the displacement coming in. They're looking to get a kill on him already, and he just barely gets away. Genji not really respecting the abilities of Fire Team there to get him into harm's way by just lobbing one of those grenades at him. Nice work there, however, does not ultimately result in a kill. As Genji goes back to base and is coming back on his Fiery Moose to join the battle. XP has been fairly evened out so far, 4-4. Not a big difference either way at this point. All right, we've got an active shrine here. Fire Team and Swanky starting to get the kills on these poor little skeleton men. Shade, Time, Azariel, all here. Dawn coming down to join the rest of his team here, but so far, this is TMG Red in control. The health bars, though, starting to get a little bit low. So Lucky trying to get some poke in. Genji very carefully navigating the edges of this team fight, wanting to get in there and deal some damage, but also knowing if he gets in there too close, he can get killed very quickly. Shade now taking this opportunity to get a little bit of a slam onto Genji, but nothing more comes of it. Dawn getting fairly low, shielding himself. It's 31 skeleton men to 10 so far. So TMG Red still in the lead, even though the Black Hand has kind of pushed them out of the zone a little bit. We'll see if they can catch up, but it might just be a little bit too late. Paul Charles S almost out of mana on that Johanna. Tassadar phase shifting out of there, and the first Infernal is going to go over to TMG Red as they get a kill on to Tassadar. That's the second time Tassadar has gone down, and the timing is not great as it's going to make this push with this Infernal even easier. Sonya taking this opportunity to go into the top lane and get some extra XP, which Black Hand is not going to be able to get. Lucio doing the same in the bottom lane. So TMG Red taking this opportunity rather than pushing with all five and perhaps getting that fort down. They say, no, that's okay. We can get that fort later. That XP is still going to be available to us. Instead, we'll take this advantage to spread ourselves across the map and get an XP soak which is not going to be available for the Black Hand to make up. Alright, all that said, it's just an early Infernal. Yeah, Infernal. Not a big deal. Punisher, that's the word. So, all good. Alright, level 7 picked up for TMG Red, so for a little while anyway, they'll have the talent tier advantage. And they're going to take this opportunity to kill some Goatmen up in the top lane. Shade and Dawn fighting that a little bit. Dawn's going to have to be careful. Doesn't want to get solo killed again by Shade. Red Mercenary is going to push into that middle fort as everyone collecting now into bottom lane. Genji getting very low on kill fast, and that is... Whew, that's hurt. That hurts. That's a stack reset. Convection back down to 0. Capolan going to follow his teammate into the grave. TMG Red, another 2 kills on the board. Now sitting at 4 and 0 as far as kills go. While they're pushing this bottom lane. Mercenaries are pushing the middle lane. Shade pressuring Dawn out of the top lane. Everything so far going TMG Red's way. For now, anyway. We'll see. Oh my god, so lucky. Just gets wrecked. That was a lot of burst coming down, and that is a dead person. Johanna gonna try to get out of harm's way here. And Paul Charles S does manage to do it. But they're gonna lose their bottom fort.
Red team has destroyed.
Shrine also about to activate around the same area that TMG Red already controls, so I'm sure they're happy to see that. Gonna leave it to the Goatmen and the cow. Leaving it to all the animal people to take out that last little tower. Genji getting his convection stacked back up to 1. Feels not great. Feels not great. TMG Red now sitting at level 10. Gonna make it very difficult for the Black Hand to contest this shrine as they only just hit level 8 themselves. So we've got the heroic abilities picked up. It's gonna be Stim Drone from Morales. Mosh Pit for ETC, Leap for Sonya. So a switch from last game. Sonya went for the Wrath of the Berserker last time. This time it's going to be a Leap. I think that probably makes sense. That's going to scare the heck out of poor Kael'thas. He's going to have a really hard time stacking that convection up. Sound Barrier picked up by Lucio, and Rain of Vengeance by Vala. Alright, so the Skeleton Men just getting wiped out. These poor little characters. I mean, they just never stood a chance. So that's going to be Punisher number 2 going over to TMG Red. And that's going to go into the bottom lane. Black Hand, I mean, they knew they couldn't contest that, so good on them for not trying. They were down 2 levels, level 10 to level 8. There was no way that was going to go in their favor, so they took the opportunity to at least get some XP top, try to get some pressure onto the top turrets, but I mean, they better get back home pretty soon or they might lose a keep. Nice damage from Genji getting some good AoE onto the team, but Paul Charles getting chased away. Punisher, all 5 members of TMG Red down here, killing this bottom keep. Lunara deciding she can't do anything about it, deciding to accompany her mercenaries top lane and just try to get some counter structural damage, but Paul Charles S dies. That Johanna finally did go down. And that keep is wide open now in the bottom lane. Around the same time that Fireteam and TMG Red got their first keep in Game 1, that's going to make things a lot easier from here on out. Persistent pressure into that bottom lane is going to keep Black Hand busy. TMG Red now collecting themselves in the mid lane. Looks like... oh man, that fort didn't even drop top lane. Shade now coming up to protect it, so it may still manage to survive. Oh boy, that's a heartbreaker. Krompirika, thanks for the follow, my friend. Faccio2606, welcome to the followers team. All right. People gathering down in the bottom lane. All 5 members of the Black Hand are here. Only 4 here from TMG Red. Genji, though, just gets assassinated by time. Walks in there, just kills him dead. Convection stacks back down to 0. Leap goes down, and that's another murder as Tassadar just gets totally flattened by TMG Red. This is becoming a shellacking. So lucky. Yeah, the name turns out to be appropriate as actually he survives. Getting a kill, finally. onto TMG Red as Lucio drops. So, on the board now, blood has been drawn. We'll see whether or not that strengthens the spirits of the Black Hand enough to come back into this game. TMG Red didn't really get a whole lot accomplished on that bottom push. They already had the keep. A lot of pressure into the mid lane, though, as we have Goatmen and Minions pushing together. And TMG Red going to add a few more Goatmen to that total, and then they're going to head down bottom to get a few more. So, it looks like TMG Red is, they're the herders, they're the shepherds in this game. They've got the goats on their side. That's going to keep the Black Hand busy just in time for that Shrine activation. So, it's rough. It's rough for the Black Hand here. They really have not much of a choice. They've got to deal with these mercenaries. But at the same time, they can't just keep absorbing Punisher after Punisher. Swanky just knocking down some walls and turrets by himself, chopping things with that space axe, and the Goatmen did their job. Black Hand deciding to stay bottom lane, push this out while they have the opportunity, clear out those catapults before they get to be too invasive. But they are just kind of giving up this shrine, so Time and Shade just going to clear those up. They're going to get a Punisher for themselves while the rest of the team preemptively take down this fort. So that Punisher is going to be heading straight into that top keep wall. Black Hand, you know, they're blowing up some structures. They've managed to even up the XP a little bit. They were 2 levels behind at one point. You know, basically they are still 2 levels behind, so I suppose it's not that much of a recovery. And TMG Red, they're looking to finish this thing out. They're just coming up here. Swanky goes pretty deep with that stage dive. Or not stage dive, sorry, power slide. Face melts Johanna into his team, but it is Johanna, so she is fine. Kael'thas puts down the Phoenix, trying to zone out. Get some free damage onto the Punisher at least. All 5 members here for both teams. Genji Eye gets leaked on. That is Kael'thas getting the stasis from Oriole, but as soon as he's out, he is killed dead once again. We saw Rain of Vengeance drop down. We saw Swanky run into him. Swanky taking some decent damage on the way out here. Can they get a kill onto the ETC? Looks like no. Face Melt pushes away the damage, and his support's killed him all the way back up. Currently a... Oh boy. Oh boy. Black Hand is dropping left and right. So lucky. Deciding to stay on the front lines here and try to do something, but that's... Oh boy. Time just going really deep. Pushing Genji Eye back into the comfort of his base. So lucky. Gonna chase them out, sort of. But Time, whoa, getting right into the face of So Lucky and taking him out. So a little bit too brazen there from that Lunara. Getting very close to Time, who has shown repeatedly in this game that this Vala will murder you. This Vala will kill you. Just when you think you're safe, just if you think you can survive a few seconds, what's a little Hungering Arrow gonna do? No. You're dead very quickly. Level 16 to level 14. 2 keeps down on the side of Black Hand. That's persistent pressure top, persistent pressure bottom. And things are looking pretty grim for the Black Hand here. Looks like TMG Red is in great position to add 3 points to their league total. They're currently sitting in 6th place, which is great. Secured a spot in the playoffs, but ETC dead. So Swanky was a little bit careless, it looks like. This may be the Black Hand's chance to finally do something here. Swanky going to be dead for another 35 seconds. All 5 members alive for the Black Hand. They're down 2 levels. They're down a talent tier, but they are up a man on the field. The problem is they've got catapults pushing into their base. So Genji Eye going to go back, deal with that, while the rest of his team is going to try to... No, looks like they're not going to go for that shrine yet. Looks like they wanted to try to catch TMG Red on those mercenaries, but not able to do it. Mercenaries picked up by TMG Red. Infernal Shrine not even activated yet. As I say that, it does become active. Skeleton Men starting to go down. ETC gonna resurrect just now. However, he does not have stage dive, so it's going to take him a little bit to get back in here. But I don't think that the Black Hand can totally clear out these Skeleton Men before he's back, at which point they're just going to have to kind of back away. And there they go. So, unfortunately for the Black Hand, The only thing that matters is who gets to 40 skeleton man kills first. It doesn't matter how many you get. This is not Immortals where you just want to get the shields down. You got to kill them all. Looks like they're going to make their stand here. The Black Hand all clustered up here. ETC goes right in, gets a nice mosh pit onto multiple members of the Black Hand. Kael'thas goes down. Cupolan had to use stasis on himself. 2 members down for the Black Hand. Dawn about to die as well. Morales running away with low health, but she is going to survive. I think Fireteam poisoned, but it's not going to be enough to take him down. We've got a little bit of lag and a disconnect, unfortunately, happening for me. Hopefully we'll get back into this very soon, as TMG Red is going to be looking to close out this game. Level 18 to level 16. 2 people dead on the side of the Black Hand. However, ETC did go down for TMG Red. Skeleton Men, 36 to 29. It's theoretically possible for the Black Hand to make that back, but I don't think it's gonna happen. Reconnect, unfortunately, taking longer than we would like here. And we're back. We're not back. All right, apologies to the viewers. At the climactic moment of this game, the internet decided, no, we must take a break. We must mess this up. Had 2 disconnects previously on the part of members of players having to disconnect and reconnect. So I suppose it's only fair that it happens to the caster as well. Certainly unfortunate. But, yeah, usually this only takes a second or 2 when it happens, but unfortunately it's taking a lot longer than that this time. Probably by the time we get back in here, the game will be over, which is quite sad. But you never know. For all we know, the Black Hand has managed a miracle team wipe. But, you know, just looking at the mini-map over here, in the bottom right corner of our screen, we can see a lot of red dots all clustered around the core of the Black Hand. So while this team fight is going, even if somehow they were able to come back from it, their core was in severe danger. Looking at the health bars of the people on the field at the moment, Fireteam very low, but able to survive. Dawn very low, so lucky pretty low. Cupolan with a full hope bar is going to heal up some people over there, presumably. All right, so the reconnect is happening. We're going to catch up to things in kind of super speed. Unfortunately, I can't move the camera around while this is happening. Looks like that team fight did just kind of peter out there. Both teams disengaged from it. A kill happened actually onto Vala. So the Black Hand never saying never. They've done a good job getting a couple of picks here in this late game to slow down the momentum of TMG Red. And there's a kill onto the Lunara, unfortunately. So TMG Red coming back with a kill of their own. And that's going to be a very difficult thing for the Black Hand to deal with, as their core, we can see, is already down to 43% at the moment. 20 has not yet been picked up by either team. Unfortunately, this reconnect, you know, we thought we were back, but it was a trick. We're only back for a very short amount of time. Oh boy. Well, unfortunately, folks, it looks like this poor program has called it quits on us right at the climax of the game. How could they do this to us? How could they? Well, it looks like for the VOD anyway, I may have to piece something together from the replay file, assuming this thing ever actually comes back. Client currently not even responding, so that's unfortunate. Hoping that, you know, it can somehow fix itself, but since it's not, I'm just going to have to close it down and restart, hoping I can get back into that game. But I'm not super optimistic about that. I would not be surprised to come back and find the game over. All right, folks. Well, unfortunately, such is the nature of online gaming. The client disconnected, was not able to reconnect. Finally, it crashed. So, we were not able to get back into that game. Definitely annoying. I apologize for that, but nothing we could do. So, I'm going to assume the TMG Red won that game. Just confirm in chat. All right. Well, as we see there, TMG Red really quite dominating against the Black Hand in that match. Quick, decisive victory in Game 1, and I do have the confirmation from Fireteam that TMG Red also won Game 2. So we did not see the final touches, but we saw pretty much everything right up to the point that the enemy core went down. TMG Red did a great job taking out keeps top and bottom, keeping pressure up the whole time. And in that last team fight, you know, the Black Hand did put up a fight. They managed to get a couple of kills here and there. But by that point, the pressure was so far against them, their core was getting wiped out when they weren't even around to defend it. So that's a 2-0 for TMG Red. Really well done by them. The Black Hand, unfortunately, is going to walk away with 0 points from this match. They're going to have to really pick it up if they want to make playoffs. So with that, we're going to end the broadcast for this evening. Thank you to everyone watching. Thanks to the players. And that's going to be that. So we'll see you next time on Nexus Gaming Series. Thanks for watching.